Alright everybody, this is Vince the Prince, your crown prince of professional wrestling, and I'm back with episode 2 of Armchair Booker. Here in my nice comfy armchair again, and I will bring you how I think they should have done the Angle Joe feud in TNA. Honestly, I don't think they did it right. They shotgunned it, they pushed it through way too fast, and at the end, Angle goes over. Angle shouldn't go over Joe when Joe is the established star in TNA. I don't care if Angle's the big name, because if Joe gets put over Angle, Angle's still going to be over. And then Joe will be just as over. Whereas if you have Angle keep beating Joe, he's just beating him down back into the mid-card. And it doesn't make any sense when you've built this guy up to be the champion, 2-year undefeated streak, and then just have Kurt Angle beat the piss out of him until he's nothing but a mid-carder again. Which Joe doesn't deserve. Joe's a nice guy. So here's how I'm going to take this whole year for TNA and rewind it back to last year's Bound for Glory and tell you how I think the Angle Joe feud should go. Angle debuts at Bound for Glory, helps Sting win the title. From there, Angle and Joe do not meet one-on-one until Slammiversary. Okay? You can tease it. You can have them do interference where Angle runs in for the heels, Joe runs in for the faces. You can have them in like a War Games match or something on opposite sides. You can have them in a gauntlet match, but never have them one-on-one until Slammiversary in the King of the Mountain match. And even then, that's not really one-on-one. This is the closest they're going to get so far. Now, the whole thing that makes this feud work the way I've booked it is Joe has to win the title at Slammiversary in the King of the Mountain match. This is what makes the whole thing work. You've got the 2-year undefeated streak. You've got Joe just running through everybody in TNA. And this is his final stop, the TNA World title. He takes down the belt. End of pay-per-view. It's a great moment. Next pay-per-view is Victory Road. Who are we going to have at Victory Road? Of course, the match everybody wants to see. Joe versus Angle. Now, this again is what keeps the feud going, is that Joe has to beat Angle in their first time out. Why? It establishes Joe as a real champion, as a real main eventer. He has beaten somebody that is a name internationally. And this is what's going to get Joe established as an absolute superstar. So, he beats Angle by pinfall at Victory Road. Not submission, not the clutch, not the ankle lock, nothing. You can tease those, but that is not the finish. The finish is muscle buster, pin. Or 7 muscle busters in a pin. Whatever it takes to establish Joe as the champion. Alright, next pay-per-view is Hard Justice, and I'm not going to lie, this is my favorite idea that I've made for this feud. Probably my favorite idea that I've had for a wrestling match ever. You put up the 6 sides of steel at Hard Justice, you get Big John McCarthy as your referee, and you put Angle and Joe in a mixed martial arts shoot fight. Obviously, it's not a real shoot fight. It's going to be like a Japanese strong style kind of match. MMA rules, nothing off the ropes, nothing off the turnbuckles. Strikes, slams, and submissions and wrestling moves. And 2 5-minute rounds. First round ends with Joe in the ankle lock about to tap. Bell rings. Second round ends with Angle in the clutch about to tap. Bell rings. So, of course, after 2 rounds, what's going to happen? Scorecards are tied. They're going to go to a 3rd round to determine it. But Jim Cornette runs out. He stops it and he says, that's it. It's going to end as a draw. I don't want anybody hurt, because if you're hurt, that brings down my pay-per-view buys. You know the whole gimmick he's doing now where everything is about the money, right? So he stops the match. He wants to make sure that this feud keeps going. So in order to get this feud going, or to keep it going, No Surrender, we're going to have a 30-minute Iron Man match, which was the only match they booked correctly in this entire feud, I think. Joe ended up losing by 1. I don't remember if it was 3-2 or 2-1, whatever it was. Joe ended up losing by 1 and still had a chance right at the end to tie it up and force overtime. And that's exactly how I would book this Iron Man match that I have here on the card. Joe loses. This is huge. This is Joe's first loss. And it's in such a cheap way that he would have had the 3 count or the submission right at the end. But the clock ran out, so he loses his title, and that's his first loss. It's devastating. It's a devastating way to lose it. So what do we have here now? Slammiversary, Victory Road, Hard Justice, No Surrender, Bound for Glory. Hey, this is huge. This is the blow-off match. WrestleMania and Bound for Glory are the blow-off pay-per-views for both WWE and TNA respectively. Hopefully TNA will realize that and book everything so that everything blows off at Bound for Glory and they can just start off fresh. But this would be the blow-off match for Angle Joe. And it's not just going to be a regular match. Cornette books it as a 2 out of 3 falls submission match. That is what everyone wants to see. Everybody wants to see Joe tap and Angle tap. And you know what? Everybody's going to walk away happy. First fall, Joe makes Angle tap to the ankle lock. Huge. That is huge. Do you know how big they would pop? The crowd would pop so huge to see Angle tap to the ankle lock by Samoa Joe. So that's the first fall. Second fall, Angle gets his revenge. Joe taps to the ankle lock. And again, that's huge too because nobody's seen Joe tap out yet. That is absolutely huge. So we've got the tap out to the ankle lock on Joe. It's tied up 1-1. How do we book the last fall? If you say Angle wins, you're an idiot. Joe wins with the clutch. He locks the clutch in for about, I don't care, 2 minutes, and Angle doesn't want to tap, but finally taps at the end. It would be like the Survivor Series match, the I Quit match between Bret Hart and Backlund, where Backlund had the crossface chicken wing locked in for like 7 minutes and he didn't want to tap and his mother threw in the towel. It would be something like that where Angle doesn't want to tap and he feels like he's going to survive, but at the same time he can't get out of it and he's got no choice but to tap. And once he taps clean, this is a clean tap, a clean victory by Joe, guess what? Great match, could be match of the year, everybody is over. It doesn't matter that Joe retains or wins back the title. It doesn't hurt Angle at all. It elevates Joe to a whole new level and leaves everybody really happy because at the end of the pay-per-view, you're going to have Joe holding that belt up and he just beat Kurt Angle clean in the middle of the ring. Huge. Huge, huge, huge. And again, Angle's career doesn't get damaged by that. He's a gold medalist. He's been an 8-time world champion. Does it matter that he just tapped in one match? No. So this is how you book a feud. It's got to be interesting. It's got to draw the fans in, and it can't just be pushed through as soon as somebody is signed to the roster. So this is the end of Armchair Booker number 2. Look for Armchair Booker number 3 coming very soon. Please comment. I'd love to hear your comments. If you disagree with me, you're wrong. But please, if you have a differing opinion on this, please leave a comment. I want to know what you think. And again, thank you for watching. This is Vince the Prince, your crown prince of professional wrestling.